It's the Aloha shirt psychic. Go and grab your lei. His name is Meldor. He keeps our stress at bay. And every week he goes live on the internet to read on all of your political comments. It's the Aloha shirt psychic.
Hello, everybody. As the lead-in said, I'm Meldor, the Aloha Shirt Psychic. Welcome to Aloha Tuesdays, where the one, the only, the great Arthur and Mel share shows together on Aloha Tuesday. Hello, Arthur. How the hell are you?
I'm great now that you're back in town and we can do a show.
There you go. Well,
how was Peru?
Peru was phenomenal. I'm leaving tomorrow for Iceland, then I'll be back for 8 or 9 days, then going to France.
Really?
I got a free trip on the Rhone River. And then going a few days early so I can see Nice, because I didn't get to see it in May when I had to cancel that trip. And then the first weekend in November, in Benicia, Linda Grindle and I are doing an event. So if you're interested in that, Linda Grindle, GRINDEL.com/events, and go down to Benicia. I think there's one ticket left and it's sold out. So there you go. Peru was incredible. We started in Lima, which is sea level. And then we, next day, we flew to Cusco. And Cusco's at 11,000 feet. And when you're tired, we weren't jet lagged because Peru's on the same time we are here. But just, from flying all the time and you're tired and blah, blah, blah. I mean, just walking around because you're not used to the altitude, I was like, and I had some pills for altitude sickness, but the pills made me feel worse than the altitude. So from Cusco, we went on a coach to the Sacred Valley. So we went down to around 8,000 feet and everybody felt much better. We stayed there for a couple days. That was really incredible. And we went to this place called, I got to get it right. Hold on. Ollantay y Tambo. And there are Inca ruins there too. And it was really incredible. And that whole village, that whole area is UNESCO. I was like, yes. One of the days we went way up in the mountains, 13,000 feet. And we had lunch with a native family. And we ground the sauce that they were going to put on our food on a stone. And it was just really incredible. Then from the Sacred Valley, let's see, where do we go from the Sacred Valley? We went back to, I got to get it right, Ollantay Tambo, and we took the train down to Aguas Calientes, which means hot waters in Spanish because there's hot springs. And at Aguas Calientes, that is the start of the Amazon jungle, but it's also high in the Andes. That's at 7,000 feet. Mm-hmm. So the first day we got there, we got on a bus. It was kind of overcast in the morning, but in the afternoons it gets hot. And we went up to see Machu Picchu, and it was incredible.
So what are the pictures?
I'll put them up. I put some online, not many.
Well, I saw them on your post. They were beautiful.
Yeah, and then from Machu Picchu, we hung out in Aguas Calientes for a while. Then we took the train back up to Ollantay y Tambo. And on the way back up the train, they had entertainment and we were dancing. And so from there, we went, I think we went back to Cusco for a couple of days. And that elevation, once again, was 11,000. We got used to that. And then from there, we flew to a place called Puna. And Puna is almost 13,000 feet high in the Andes. And we went to Lake Titicaca, and we went on these floating reed islands that natives make. And they live on these floating reed islands, and it was incredible. And then that same day, we had lunch with a family on a regular island, not man-made. And they caught the fish fresh the day before because they don't have refrigeration. And the host was a shaman. And it was so cool. It was really neat. And then, we toured some Inca ruins there. And then, the trip was over. So we flew from Puna back to Cusco, from Puna back to Lima, toured Lima, and then came home. So it was an incredible trip.
How many days was it?
9.
Wow.
It was a lot to see in 9 days. It was just incredible. I got sick one day around 3 in the afternoon and was sick all night. And by 5 the next morning, I was still sick, but by noon I was okay. And I know what I did because they tell you not to drink or use the tap water because we have bottled water. But I was brushing my teeth and I stuck it under the water and then I forgot, oh my God.
Out of habit.
Yeah. So
when you were around these ruins and all these other places, did you get images and feelings and stuff?
Well, when we were in Machu Picchu and all the ruins, the places we stayed were incredible. The place in the Sacred Valley was almost like a little lodge. It was really cool. Yeah. The rooms were. And when we were in Machu Picchu, I told some people just to touch the wall because we had to break up in 2 groups, but to feel, and they were like, But I felt the most incredible sense of healing energy. I asked for a message, and it was the most incredible sense of healing energy. And I said, what is this healing energy about? And it said, healing the Earth Mother, the Pachamama. Pachamama is the Earth. And I was afraid to ask about the healing for humankind. I didn't go that far. I don't think I wanted to know.
That's the next trip. There
you go. But it was absolutely, the people there were wonderful. I can't remember the language they speak, Quechua. I'm probably mispronouncing it. But when they say hello, they say, hello, my brothers and sisters. And it doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what religion you are. It doesn't matter from where you come from. They look at everyone as brothers and sisters. And that was a strong message that I brought home. And considering what's happening in America today, I hope and I pray that we can look at everyone as brothers and sisters, not the small group of American apartheid that's going on.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was an incredible trip.
Well, you're going off to Iceland, so take notes.
Tomorrow I leave for Iceland. And then next May, Sherry can put it up, I have got a cruise on the Danube. It starts in Prague, Czech Republic. We go over to Český Krumlov. We come down to Germany, to a little town Passau, go all across Austria. I think we have a stop in Bratislava, Slovakia, Vienna, and then we end in Budapest and come home. September, Sherry can put that up. Galapagos Islands, Ecuador, September 8th through the 15th. And we'll fly into Quito. That's a city that's around 10,000 feet. So altitude shouldn't bother me too much. And there's UNESCO sites. That whole city, a lot of it's UNESCO. So we'll tour Quito. Then we'll get on the plane the following morning and fly to the Galapagos Islands. We'll get on a boat and we'll tour each Galapagos Island, different places for 5 days. So that's going to be incredible. So if you're interested, call my office at the number below, 847-590-5411, or email me, meldor.com. So, and also I got to say, Andrew Niki products. That stuff is so cool. Check it out. You're going to love it. I want to thank Sherry. She's behind the scenes pulling the strings.
Yeah.
And anyway, so, I know people are going to say I talk too much about my trips, but, the beginning is the infomercial, and
It's your channel. You can talk about whatever you want.
part of the way that I make a living.
Yeah.
So I feel like I want to, invite many of our subscribers and members to join us. And I will guarantee one thing, you will have a good time. Okay, so for a Cajun reading, contact Mademoiselle Sherry from Louisiana, you all. For Arthur, contact Arthur, www.arthureaseyourmind.com.
Yep.
All right. Sherry, you want to put yours back up? Because I don't think I read it. I said, oh, yeah. Sherry, swampvoices@gmail.com. And she ain't going to put no hoodoo on you. I can see her shaking her head laughing behind the scenes. All right.
You did send me this once.
Oh, I've got one too.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to call her Mademoiselle. How's that? No, are you the incarnation of Madame Laveau, Miss Sherry? I understand, maybe so. She went, we'll call her Madame. No, I don't like that.
No.
Mademoiselle.
Yeah.
I know what you're thinking, Arthur. Don't go down that road.
I didn't go there. Honest.
All right, we got lots of questions. Are we ready?
Sure.
Oh, by the way, somebody put here, I just want to put this up real quick about Machu Picchu. Teresa Campbell, and we're not doing personal questions tonight, just international, national events. She said, when you felt the energy of Machu Picchu stone, can you read on the ages of the stone? I was there and felt two different eras. Well, when you ask about the age of the stone, do you mean when the stone was formed or when it was quarried and built? Because the stone was formed millions and millions of years ago. But the archaeologists think that Machu Picchu was, and I felt the same thing, anywhere from 1,000 to 800 years old. And there were there weren't a lot of people living there. I think it was less than 1,000. But the way they quarried the stones and cut them to fit perfectly, you can't even get a piece of paper in between. They didn't drag them up the mountain. Right above there, you can see a quarry where they quarried the stones. But can you imagine still, how did they figure out how to get them down? Build terraces. And they farmed on some of the terraces, but some of them were retaining walls. And if you look high up on one of the mountains, there's terraces up there, and that's where they went up to worship. It's really cool. The way they did it was, it's mind-boggling. So I didn't pick up two different eras. No, it all came from the same era, Teresa. Now there were parts they rebuilt. Yes, maybe that's what you were feeling, because when they started excavating. But most of it's 93% of Machu Picchu is original. 93%. So, all right. Hi, Kathy. Hello, wonderful Auntie Mel and Arthur. How is your fur baby Lucky doing now that you're home? She is wonderful. She stayed with friends. She loves going by their house. So when she saw us, she was... But, she was a little depressed because she misses our friends too. So she usually goes by them a couple days a week. And so I'm sure when I'm gone, she'll probably stay with them a few days. Gary's not going on this trip. So anyway, Teacher Barbara. Hey, Barbara. Hi, Mel. I know you're not doing personal. Can you speak on Project 2025's intention with students who attend public education? I don't know what is the nature of the question.
How is Project 2025 going to affect education, basically? Because they're trying
like affecting everything else.
Yeah, well, they're trying to shut down the Department of Education. So,
for a while, it's going to look like they succeed with a lot of things. But my guides keep telling me just because it appears as if they win a few battles doesn't mean they'll win the war. We were talking before the show about Cittadini's speech in Hegseth. I did not see it, but Arthur and Sherry told me, he said that LA, Chicago, these cities, notice that they were war zones. He didn't mention any Republican cities, only Democratic ones. And as a Chicagoan, I take offense to him saying that. It makes it look like we're killing each other all over the place, and that's just not true. People who come here love Chicago, and we can handle our own problems, Donald. You handle yours, we'll handle ours.
Well, just like they filed a lawsuit in Portland against him, you know.
Yes, that's right. Portland, Oregon is a war zone? I don't think so. Or Los Angeles? I don't think so. And then Hegseth with all this stuff in the military. And there's something in the questions about, was he on narcotics? I'm not going to go down that road. But before Mr. Hegseth starts pointing fingers at everybody else and saying, no beards in the military, no this, no that. Hey, Hegseth, stop drinking. For entertainment purposes only. The hypocrisy blows me away. Sherry says something, it's okay for them to do it, but then they twist it and turn it and put it on everybody else.
Also, I just want to bring it real fast. When they announced that Bad Bunny was going to be doing the halftime game and all that, and because he kind of like, as a protest, is kind of like Jen Bender a little bit, and they're bitching and complaining about it. Gavin Newsom said, "Yeah, I know what you mean," and put a picture up of J.D. Vance in drag.
Gavin Newsom's going to be our president. He really gives it back to Trump. Yeah. But our cities are not war zones. Yeah. And for him to say that, and then to do away with, diversity, equality, and what was the I is
inclusion.
Inclusion is wrong. That didn't decay America. Trump is decaying America.
He basically, his speech focused on the culture of the U.S. military, the training, the leadership, and fixing decades of decay is how he worded it.
You know what? I want to raise my middle finger, but I don't want to go to YouTube jail.
Oh, just say read between the lines.
No, read the book.
Yeah. And then, and he was saying that the president was telling 800 top military people that armed forces should be used in dangerous American cities as training grounds.
The only reason he's doing that is because he's trying to justify sending National Guard to Democratic cities to intimidate Democrats so they don't go to the polls and to cause fear and to cause chaos and dissension. That's what he's good at. And it's illegal because it is not, what he's trying to do is say that these cities are having insurrections, and we are not. Because under the Insurrection Act, if there's an insurrection, then he can send in the military, the National Guard. But otherwise, he can't. And I'm telling you, he's going to get impeached for this crap.
But it also has to be the governors involved with that too. So you just can't willy-nilly bring them in.
I don't know the law on that one.
Well, but with the National Guard.
Right. No, I know. But I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to say that, we're insurrectionists, and he's the biggest insurrectionist.
And he's trying to normalize that we're going to see, military in our streets. And
he's also trying to do that so that he can suppress elections, so that, he can intimidate people. And it's his way then of trying to do martial law so he can stay in office. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
But it's not going to work. He wants people to be violent. Then that would give him a reason to send in the military. Right now, he's using the lame excuse, it's to protect ICE. From what?
Themselves, the people.
Right. Okay. When they finally swear in Gravalia and get the final signature, will Congress actually vote yes on releasing the Epstein files?
This is the woman that won the special election in Arizona that Mike Johnson is refusing at the moment to swear in.
She's a Democrat, I take it.
Yeah. Well, also they need 218 signatures for the Epstein file, and she would be the 218th person.
Well, he can refuse to swear her in, but that's illegal, and she'll still be in office.
She has to be sworn in.
I still see some way or another the courts are going to say.
Well, there's this one guy on TikTok is saying, if Mike Johnson does not swear her in on October 7th, and there's a shutdown, he's releasing all of his profile stuff on Grindr and all of his UPS, his computer addresses to prove that it's him.
Well, Trump is the one, in my opinion, maybe not directly, but Trump's cronies are the one telling Mike Johnson not to swear her in.
Yeah.
And then that puts us in a constitutional crisis. I see her in office, and I see the Epstein files being released. If not, by hook, by crook.
Yeah. But I also feel eventually all of it is released, and it's not through the government.
Bingo. That's exactly what I was going to say. Okay, well, we just answered that. Well, the Congresswoman...
Well, they're coming back on October 7th, so...
Well, you know what? At some point, if they refuse to do that, then what keeps the Democrats or any other party from saying, well, we're not going to swear in your candidates?
Well, I know, it's tit for tat. Democrats have always been doing the gentlemanly thing, and they got to take the gloves off.
Democrats need to grow a set.
And they have. They're starting.
Well, look at Newsom. He's my hero. And I think that I really think that a lot of other Democrats are going to start speaking up louder and louder and not allow this to happen.
Yeah.
You know, for them to not swear in somebody that's elected, that's like giving the middle finger to elections. Well, if we don't like you, we won't swear you in.
Well,
doesn't work.
They're playing a game of, well, we're waiting for the right paperwork to come in.
That's such a crock of you know what.
It's called a fax machine. Yeah.
Here. That's my take on it.
Bookends.
Here you go. Pamela, hi guys. Give us the full scope regarding the military meeting today. Thank you. They're trying to figure out how they can send troops into our cities, the Democratic cities.
And
send them to Memphis. That is the highest crime rate of anywhere. Send them there.
Yeah. By the way, it's not. I was going to say before I get to the question, do you feel that the shutdown? What do you feel about that?
I do.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it'll last, but they'll do what they always do. It's the Democrats because they didn't do this and they didn't do that. And
I know they're lying, and basically the Democrats are trying to save the tax, credits for the Affordable Care Act, which are about to expire. So people's insurance is going to go up to like $2,000 a month. I'm
sure.
And it's going to be in red states.
And the bigger deal is, how long does this madness last? It's going to be rough. I can tell you that.
Okay.
But we will get through this. Our democracy will prevail. Lincoln Spirit told me that when I was at his tomb. Our union shall stand, democracy will prevail, and justice shall be done. And I believe that. Will there be massive protests from the shutdown? Rose, that's a really good question. There's going to be massive protests from everywhere.
Also, No King's Day, October 18th.
Thank you. October 18th, No King's Day. Not only about shutdown, but protest about the military in our cities, protest about everything. My guide showed me like a little snowball, and all of a sudden it's an avalanche. And they show me thousands and thousands of people not protesting, but holding peaceful demonstrations in the streets and all of that. I'm just nervous that Trump and his cronies are going to send in agitators to try to have violence. And I think there's going to be something, and I pray to God I'm wrong, like another Kent State.
I said that about a month ago, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I think that's going to really galvanize people against Trump. By the way, I do want to say one thing. Let's please send our healing energy to Mimi Rose. Deanne told me that Mimi had to go through open heart surgery.
Oh, wow.
And she's recovering nicely. But I think there was some concern about her son, and I'll leave it at that. But Mimi, I want you to know, if you're watching this, that we are with you. We are sending you healing energy, and that your son is around you. I do want you to know that. So we love you. And if you need anything, Mimi, you have my office number. If any of us can do anything, or at least if I can, please don't hesitate to call. So everybody, please send her healing energy. She's going through a really rough time right now.
Thank you for that.
Okay. Firefly says, listen to the music underneath the noise. That's hard to do. Do you see the population putting their differences aside to challenge this administration? We already are.
I would say look at what happened with Jimmy Kimmel for a nanosecond. Disney lost over.
I was in Peru, and I heard that he quit or he was fired or something. Then he and somebody else got their heads together to do their own thing, and I didn't really hear the remainder of it.
Basically, they said they took him off the air because they didn't like what he said. But this is also on the heels. I don't know if you heard about this while you were away. There was a Fox host that they were talking about homeless people, and they said if they don't want to, be incarcerated or be helped, then they have to be involuntarily euthanized. Involuntary legal ejections for homeless people.
Hold on. Who did that? What does that remind you of?
I know.
Wasn't it Hitler who took the people who had developmental disabilities, intellectual disability, and said they were going to a hospital? And he didn't. We won't say euthanize. Let's call it what it is.
Murdered.
Institutionally murdered them.
Right. And this guy still has a job while they were trying to put Jimmy Kimmel off the air. But everybody turned around, and I no longer have Disney Plus or Hulu.
Nope.
And no, they lost billions.
So what does that tell you about who is behind getting rid of Jimmy Kimmel? And there was somebody else they got rid of too. Who was it?
Stephen Colbert. But his show is off in May of next year, and but they just blatantly took him off. And there's also, but now he's back.
Okay, but what does that tell you? Who was behind it?
Oh, everybody knows who was behind it.
Guidolini and his cronies, because they want that certain news channel to be the only news channel to be their propaganda arm. And
FCC guy, when he said, we do the easy way or the hard way. Yeah. And
repeat that, please. Say that again.
The head of the FCC basically told them in a meeting, we can do it the easy way or the hard way.
I'd say bring it on.
Yeah.
Bring it on. Now they'll start trying to regulate social media. You watch.
Yeah, well.
Raymond DePasquale. That's a nice Irish name.
Oh, Raymond's wonderful. He really
I know. I'm teasing. I like DePasquale. I think that's a really neat last name. I'm going to borrow it. Melvin DePasquale.
The third.
The third. I'm Melvin Conrad Dorr Jr. So it's funny in Peru, they would go, Melbing. I don't like Melvin. I like Mel, but then everybody started calling me Melbing. All right. Karma is a you know what. Hi, Raymond. How are you? I'm sorry. I do like the name DePasquale. I think it's, or DePasquale in Italian. It's really cool. How long do you see the shutdown lasting if it goes into effect? What do you think, Arthur? Not long.
I keep on getting a 4 around it, like 4 days.
Could be 4 hours. I don't think it's going to shut down
the
long.
Thing is, though, when there's a shutdown, the military doesn't get paid.
True. And Trump doesn't care about any of that. He will sabotage anything when he doesn't get his way. When he doesn't get his way.
If he really cared about the shutdown, he would not have spent the entire weekend on a golf course.
He doesn't care about anything.
No. Oh, yes, he does.
Staying in power.
Gold filigree in the White House and ballrooms, and I mean, I was teasing Linda, and I said, you know what? Liberace came to me the other night and said, that's even too gaudy for me.
People are starving in this country. People can't afford health care. There's going to be a revolution in this country. You mark my words. For the poor folk and the middle class are going to go, we've had it.
Mhm.
And it's funny. It's not funny, but it's almost like saying, with all these people who can't afford healthcare, can't afford their medications, can't afford this, can't afford that, lost their jobs, and he's building a ballroom. It's like him saying, let them eat cake. Well, here, Donald, here's to your cake.
Yeah. Make him eat ramen.
There you go. Okay, this is a good question. Reba USA says, hi, Mel and Arthur. Is this military distraction going to stop the release of the Epstein files? Thank you. Nope, I think it's a distraction.
It's a distraction, but it's also laying the groundwork for midterms. Stopping
Trump
elections.
always tells you what he's going to do, but if they're laying the groundwork for midterms, it's like, wait a minute. But, there's that small group that drink the Kool-Aid and will do and just go for it hook, line, and sinker. But I think it's about, he's already thinking about sending troops, but I see that some of the courts telling him he can't. I don't know what SCOTUS will do, but, it's deceive, divert, detract, distract, divide, destroy, deflect, all of the D's.
Weapons of mass distraction.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Bonnie Russell says, how are the military leaders feeling about the speeches from Hegseth and Trump? They are probably throwing up in the corner. What do you think, Arthur?
Oh, yeah. They're thinking he's effing nuts.
Linda was on my show yesterday. No. Yeah. Yesterday.
Monday.
And we were talking about this, and I said, somebody asked a similar sort of question, and my guide showed me that many of the generals that he fired or retired or something behind the scenes are working behind the scenes
Mm-hmm.
who have different strategies or stratagem, I don't know the plural of strategies, to figure out what to do with Donald Trump.
Right.
Then I'll leave it at that.
I on my show on Sunday, I said the same thing, that basically it got all these generals in one room together going, can we compare notes? I want to talk to you. Come here.
You go. Hello. All right. Kyle Teresa Cranston says, will student loan forgiveness ever happen? Arthur went like this. I'm agreeing. Yes. Not a question of if, a question of when, not decades. But once Cheetolini is gone and the Maybelline Queen are gone.
I really feel...
I laugh because I'm the Maybelline Queen. That's what
Yeah.
I call shady. Go ahead, Arthur.
I was going to say something, but I'll get you thrown off YouTube.
No, don't put me in YouTube jail, please.
No, I love you too much. And so that I can't afford the bail. I really feel towards there's something coming. I keep on thinking at the fourth quarter of 2026, something hitting the courts. So, and that's the beginning of things going back to where they were.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Rose Blue said China rejected deal with Putin as Russia goes bankrupt. Russia sub malfunction stalls in NATO waters. Is that a question or is that a
statement?
Or
does one have anything to do with the other?
Well, I think their subs malfunction because they don't have the money to keep them up.
It's all saber rattling.
Teresa said, did anyone think of Dr. Strangelove in the war room today?
That is the best scene.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. Dr. Strangelove, or How I Fell in Love with the Bomb or something.
When he's riding the bomb on the way down.
Yeah.
I have not watched the news since I got back from Peru because
it's just they're talking about calling, they now call it the Department of War, and all that kind of crap.
The Department of War, they're going to call it Department of War.
They already have.
That's as bad as the Gulf of America.
Formerly known as the Gulf of the Gulf
I
of
call it the Gulf of Mexico. I don't care.
Yeah.
Okay. Laura Rice says, "Oh my God, Trump is now offering a drug. What? Proto? I don't know what that means. Trump RX, copying Mark Cuban. Will it be successful? I don't know what that means.
Portal, like online or something.
Oh, porthole.
It's not going to be successful. Anything Trump touches, no.
Well, if he does, he'll bankrupt that like he did everything else, and maybe he'll try to make everybody buy his Trump medication. But you know what? I would rather not have medication than to order it through a Trump portal.
I'll tell you, this is where this whole everybody buying everybody out is getting to me.
That's illegal. That should be illegal.
I have my medical provider, and they were bought out by Amazon. I can now log into my medical portal using my Amazon account.
That's frightening.
How scary is that? I'm just waiting for them to say, no, you can't use Optimum drugs. You have to use Amazon drugs now.
Right. Well, one large drug chain, whose name I won't mention, their stock was public and they were just bought, and now it's all going private. And there's one on every street corner, so figure it out. And it doesn't start with a C.
W?
There you go. That could be. Hi, Raymond DiPasquale. I like that. Not one general clap when F-45 walked into the room. Was this pre-planned and a message of some sort? My guides tell me that I should let Arthur go ahead. Go ahead, Arthur.
I thought it was it was kind of like, when the president goes to the State of the Union address, the justices are not permitted to clap or anything like that. They're just non-political. And I felt the generals felt the same way. They're not going to clap the president coming in. It's not what military people do.
When you say they're non-political, I'm laughing because
I get it.
It's supposed to be non-biased. But I still think there was a part of that was a message. I'd be interested to know if they clapped when he walked out. That would be. I think a lot of those generals can't stand him. And they're like, what?
Yeah. God, if I known ahead of time, I should have
tell you that right now. They can't stand
we should have invested in like vomit distress bags and had a kiosk outside.
How about like airplanes have the barf bags?
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah. We could make money. We'll put a portal for that.
Yeah, like in Stargate.
There you go. Is that Liz A or Lisa? Liz A.
Liz A.
After the diapered blah 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 and regime are gone, will the Federalist Society project 2025? Will the Federalist Society project 2025 folks lose their grip on power? Thank you both. You're the best. Yes. I agree with Arthur. Yes, absolutely. And I see legislation passed that would prevent future rogue presidents, if there are any after this, rogue presidents, that is, so that they cannot do these things that Trump is doing.
No, if there is somebody running for president and they are a criminal, they cannot run for president. Period.
And he was convicted.
Yeah. And I feel the Heritage Foundation is going to be changing its name to Heretic Foundation.
Oh, good. They can go bye-bye.
Yeah.
I think the thing that's frightening is, Cittadini wouldn't have all this power unless he had people to agree to it.
Yeah.
And he's got people that agree to it because they like their sense of power as well.
Right.
That's obvious. But everybody else, people remember there's power in numbers as well.
Yes.
And I still see my guides show me that the women will bring down Donald Trump. You mark my words.
Mm-hmm.
So, Firefly, October 10th, they will be announcing the Nobel Peace Prize. We know 45 isn't winning. Do you see, ma'am? Doesn't take a psychic to figure that one out.
He's going to start a war with San Francisco.
He's going to start a war with the Nobel Prize.
Yeah. We're going to take over Sweden.
It'll be like, it was rigged. I should have won. I know it's the Democrats that did it. It was Antifa. Why would
Well-
he think that he should get a Peace Prize and who nominated him when he rounds up people wholesale only because they're Latino and sends them to concentration
And
camps?
changes the name of that department to the Department of War.
Wait, what was it? Wait, what was the Department of what? What was it before he called it Department of War? What was it?
It's now called Department of War. It was God, I'm having a brain fart. I'm sorry.
What was it? Department of what?
Oh God.
Yeah, Google it. While you're doing that, Sheila Treasure Finder says, "Duck, everyone! There goes
Department of Defense.
well, Department of Defense." Got it.
Department of Defense. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Sherry.
I just
Okay.
like my civics test.
Sheila goes, "Duck, everyone! There goes the ketchup."
Yep.
I wonder if it'll say Nobel on it. I don't know.
Noble.
Noble. Pat BWI, will SCOTUS be brought up
On charges.
on charges? Some of them will be, but once Trump is gone, I see 2 of them impeached.
And 2 others stepping down.
Right. So, but you have to prove collusion, and they will have proof that at least 2 did collude in order to let some of Trump's stuff go through that's unconstitutional.
Yeah.
I see a huge cleaning of the court, and vetting those justices and changing the way they're put in office a little bit so that if they are being investigated, or to really, really, really scrutinize them much more carefully than what's going on now.
I'm also seeing term limits.
Yes,
for
I see that
SCOTUS.
too.
And I've been saying for a long time, I see 13 Supreme Court justices within 5 years because we now have 13 courts. Before we only had 9 courts, so we had 9 Supreme Court justices. Now we have 13.
We've been saying for a long time that there's term limits on the justices, which I think there should be.
Yeah, there will be.
Laura Wright, is Hegseth trying out to be Shady Vance's VP pick? What are his chances? Scary times. I don't think he knows what he's doing. I think he's just, he doesn't have a clue about being Secretary of Defense, or I'm sorry, Secretary of War. He doesn't have a clue.
What was also interesting, somebody said that the stuff that Trump was doing and Hegseth at that rally, or whatever you want to call it, behind them was a huge American flag. And they took that picture and put it right next to the one from Patton. Remember, Patton gave the big speech in front of the American flag? It was the same visual.
Oh God! Let's be original, shall we?
Yeah.
Now I don't. I just had a thought.
Put it in front of a Confederate flag next time.
The Department of Defense. That's frightening when I get a thought. The Department of Defense is now Department of War, but I'm going to call it Department of Vodka because Pete Hegseth runs it. That's an insult to vodka, isn't it?
It isn't it? Yeah, especially the champagne vodka.
Artist Liz says, the Orange told the generals to attack the enemy within. Anyone that doesn't support him. Okay.
Yes.
Dems, etc. And that he was going to send more military to blue cities and attack us. What will be the outcome? Well, if he starts trying to attack, there you go. Was that a whoopee cushion I just heard? If he starts to pull it together, Mel. Pull it together. You got to be professional.
I'm sorry. I had to do that. I just had to.
I felt something coming. I didn't know what it was. I think, okay, what's our There you go. All right, let me compose myself.
What's going to happen? Outcome?
What's going to happen is that if he does that, he wants that because he wants to incite violence so people will fight back to give him more of a reason then to continue to send in more military. I see it going to the courts, and the courts, even the Supreme Court, is BS crazy as they are going to end up saying, no, he cannot do that.
Yeah.
I think behind the scenes that his cronies have already talked to some of the justices in the Supreme Court. That's the way it works with Trump,
Yeah.
buy him off a little. Entertainment purposes only.
It's like the mob boss getting his cronies to do his dirty work.
Exactly.
That's not
I'm
going to fly.
afraid not, says Hegseth told the generals to stop following the Geneva Convention. Well, they do that. Some will, but if they do, then they can't expect the rest of the world to follow the Geneva Convention, can they?
And then the ICC court will step in.
Bingo. The ICC court's going to step in more and more and more.
Even though the Trump administration doesn't recognize it.
Well, they don't recognize them because
the
current administration's on their hit list. That's why.
By the way, I just want to mention, we'll answer this. I had something to share with you. Real quick, last night I had the strangest experience. I was doing a show with Marina and Allie, and halfway through the show, we're answering questions, and I just went out for almost 2 minutes. It looked like I was sleeping. I was getting hits left, right, and center. I was downloading. And I kept on getting October 17th. That date showed 100 times in that when I was out. That something's coming down around the 17th of October. That's going to change a lot of things. That's my prediction. Whatever it means, I don't know. But if you want to watch it and laugh, because I was out. I looked like I was sleeping.
I don't know if it's October 17th, but I've been having dreams. I even called Linda about it, where I'm seeing headlines in the paper, Donald Trump has passed over. That I have these dreams that Donald Trump has passed away. And they're becoming stronger and stronger and more vivid.
Yeah.
Whenever I get dreams that strong and that vivid, it means something's coming soon. But the dream doesn't go away. It just comes.
Yeah.
It's not every night, but I dreamt it again last night.
But that's what I saw when I was out, was stuff with Trump, stuff with flags. You scared everyone watching, Arthur. Sorry. I did. It looked like, and then they were writing, he's a diabetic, check his sugar, call him, But no, that's happened to me before. I was in Chicago years ago at a party, a bunch of spiritual people, and they're all Spanish speaking. And my friend, I said, I'm tired. My friend said, sit down. So I did. And I opened my eyes, and there was a half moon of 3 deep people around me. Like, my friend said, I didn't know you spoke Spanish. I said, I don't. She said, well, you just gave really accurate readings in Spanish for the last half hour.
Oh, wow.
So
that's transmedium.
And another time I was doing a reading with someone, and I just felt like I woke up, and she goes, that was the strangest reading I've ever had in my life. That wasn't you. I asked, is this Arthur? They said no.
It's a transmedium. I'm a transmedium, but I don't do it. I don't do it much anymore, because when I would come out of it, I would be exhausted, and it's very draining.
Yeah. Well, I didn't plan it. It just happened. So October 17th, everybody, something's, just mark your calendar. And the 18th is King's Day.
When I would go on murder cases, I work on murder cases. A lot of times I would go into a trance and maybe channel the victim. And I could feel it coming on, but I would allow it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But once you got past a certain point, it's like an airplane taking off. It can't abort the takeoff. And once you get past a certain point, then you're out. And
yeah.
So,
well, I scared a lot of people yesterday. So, oh well.
Arthur. All right. Daniel Johnson, good question, Daniel. Do you see an underground resistance to hinder ice and orange? Yes. It's starting already. People in Chicago and neighborhoods, they are on the watch for ice, and they put out the word that ice is around. Same. And the word spreads and it just, and more people are on the ice watch, if you will.
Same here in Los Angeles.
It's done secretly, so they can't point fingers at one person or a group thereof to say, they're anti-ice.
Well, if I see them marching, first thing I'm going is the subway, 2 for 1. Anyway.
Okay. Artist Liz says, does his administration realize that he has dementia? I don't think they care.
That's exactly right.
I think they will put up with him and tap dance around him so they can keep their power. I don't know if he has dementia or not. I'm not a doctor, but his health is. I just keep seeing that he's got to watch his health. I see dark clouds all around him, and I have a hard time seeing a future for him. So, all right.
I do, but it's more like at a gravesite.
Hi, Raymond. Will former FBI Director Chris Wray be indicted like Comey? Well, Comey, I don't know what their deal is, but the judge laughed it out of court,
Yeah.
and it's not going to go anywhere.
No.
He's not going to be convicted. It's not going to go anywhere. It's just Donald Trump getting even with the people who didn't like Donald Trump. But the whole thing with Comey is not even about that. It's a diversion. Well,
he also said he wants to go after, Obama. He wants to go after all these people. It's laughable.
He wants to come after Newsom, and Newsom saying, bring it on.
Yeah.
Then Trump's going to try to pull something. Well, if somebody's got a conviction or this or that, they can't hold a political office. Okay, Donald.
Bye.
Bye. You got 34. All right.
J.D. Vance should be convicted of not knowing how to use his makeup.
Don't even get me started on that.
Blend it, girl. Blend it.
Maybelline. Remember that song from the 50s? My Maybelline, why can't you be true? We should send them that song. Sharon Donnelly says, hi, Sharon. Will this lead to us pulling out of NATO more easily somehow? Maybe by weakening our military? I don't know if we can pull out of NATO, but Trump wants to weaken NATO. So does Putin, because they feel like that would give Putin power to take over, Eastern Europe, but it won't work. Actually, my guides tell me it'll make NATO stronger. Just like with Ukraine. When, notice how we don't hear much about Ukraine anymore, because they don't want us to hear about it.
Yeah, it's a news blackout.
I'm sorry?
It's a news blackout.
But because they don't want us to hear about it, because I think, Ukraine is starting to whoop Russia.
Yep.
I think, that Putin and Trump, they want to weaken NATO, because then Putin can have carte blanche to take over Eastern Europe. And then Putin and Trump can divide the spoils, if you will. It's going to strengthen NATO. Just like what I was going to say about Ukraine is when Trump pulled aid from Ukraine, then NATO stepped up and started sending in weapons and airplanes and things. And so Ukraine is still getting weapons, I think, from NATO. So
yeah,
it's not going to weaken NATO. No.
I also have been feeling that I got in around less than a month, Zelensky's going to pull something out of his hat and freak everybody out in a good way.
Yay. I see them having a massive attack on Russia.
That's what I mean.
On attack or something. Yeah, it's going to be huge.
And he'll get the Peace Prize.
Richeline Devine says, hi, Mel and Arthur. Do you see the military in Portland, Oregon? I do. But I see the court saying that he does not have just cause to send the National Guard there. He's trying to figure out ways to get the National Guard into these cities.
I feel the National Guard goes in, but then they go out.
And it's not going to work.
Mm.
He hasn't brought them to Chicago yet. He says he's going to do it this weekend. But, it's like our governor said, we are taking names. And what I see, my guys have been telling me for quite a while, is the states that have Democratic governors forming a coalition to stand united against Trump and against what he's trying to do. I see a lot of people in the military resigning rather than go and round up innocent people and do Trump's bidding. And by the way, just for the record, it's illegal to follow an illegal order. So if these people are been given illegal orders, they can say no. Now, right now, the repercussions of that would be horrible, but ultimately the courts would rule that they had the right to say no. Mm. And I see a lot of military people standing out against Trump. A lot of them. So,
Well, apparently the in Venezuela, in the boats that they've been blowing up, Trump is innocent in that, but the people that went through with the attacks, they can be held responsible. And JAG is now working or whoever it is, their lawyers are working overtime so that these people are not held civilly for it.
bingo.
They already know it's wrong.
Well, they can say I was just doing my job, but you know what? It'll go up the pecking order. I see the top people, being held for crimes against humanity and a lot of stuff. So, okay, Liz A. When DT goes, will Vance be able to pardon ICE agents? Well, right now, a president can pardon anybody. But like Arthur and I were just talking about, if they've been following illegal orders, then that makes them also criminally responsible and civilly responsible. So many of them are going to be going to trial, and many of them will be convicted.
And there'll also be state charges against some of these ICE people.
That's right. If Vance is president, he won't be president long. And I feel that once he's gone, then and I also see legislation coming, and would have to change the Constitution, really. Well, maybe not to limit the presidential's powers of pardoning, and that
also felt that's going to be revisited,
and that whole immunity thing that's going to be overturned.
That's going to be changed. Could you imagine Vance becoming president? What would in the ballroom, they're playing Dancing Queen the whole time?
Maybelline, they would be playing. Maybelline.
Well, Maybelline, but to the song of Dancing Queen. Maybelline.
I like that.
Is Kerosene Levitt going to resign soon?
Ooh, RuPaul, give him some pointers, Ru.
I'm so amazed that her cross hasn't burnt her skin yet. May the power of Christ compel thee. No, whatever.
Is that exercising or exorcism? That's what I want to say to Kennedy. Is that exercising or exorcism? I was going to say something. I forgot what it was. Sharon Donnelly. Hi. Is Kerosene Levitt going to resign soon? She looks tired. She is tired. She's tired and she's worn, honey, like an old horse.
She's like Madeline Kahn in Blazing Saddles.
Do what?
She's like Madeline Kahn in Blazing Saddles. I'm tired. Yeah.
Oh. I was going to say something. I forgot what it was. Violet, that's good. If the Cheeto is just going to do whatever he wants without repercussions, how do we stay positive without feeling like everything is futile? That's what they want you to feel. They want you to feel everything is futile. They want you to feel defeated because then they can take over. No, stand up.
October 18th. No.
Cheetolini thinks that he can get by with anything. He's always felt that he could get by with anything. But yet, there's times in the past where he was caught and lawsuits, he'd sue people, but he would lose those lawsuits and have to pay. He's still going to have to pay what's her name? E. Jean Carroll. Once he's out of office, I don't think he'll be on the planet. But I think posthumously,
the state will pay it.
He's been convicted, and I think he'll be sentenced posthumously. That whole 34 count thing's not going to go away. So there are repercussions. It seems like there never are.
But it's going to be there. And how do we stay positive? One day there will be an obituary.
And the other way to stay positive is let your voice be heard.
5calls.org. Call your representatives.
Right. A lot of people are out there marching. A lot of people are out there speaking up. So if you feel powerless, that's what they want.
Yeah.
So that was a good question.
Yeah.
Titus' mom says, will T pardon his cabinet before he disappears?
He may not be mentally able to do so.
He might not have time. But even if he did, I still see it going to the courts, and the courts would have to rule on it by saying, wait a minute. If you're pardoning somebody because they knowingly participated in something illegal that you perpetuated, then that pardon is not valid.
There's gonna be changes to that law.
And a lot of the pardons that he gave, I think at some point will also be overturned. That's what I see. Especially if you can prove that he paid them off to keep them from incriminating him. And there'll be proof of that. My guides just showed me that.
4 hours until shutdown. We must help who we can.
You know, when Trump was president before, I think he
there was a shutdown in his first term.
He did. He didn't care. So, and then people are going to be.
This is what people need. They need this experience sometimes. Some of these people that drank the Kool-Aid to realize, you know, they're being effed over.
I think before, you know, the Trump years, that we had become so apathetic, and then, you know, the nation became so polarized. And Trump wants to keep it polarized because if he can keep up the anarchy and the chaos, then he can stay in power. But it's going to backfire. All right, Sherry, what do you got, girlfriend? We got time for one more. Julie, will Mike Johnson swear? Oh no, will Mike Johnson swear in the new dim before Guy exposes his grinder?
Remember, I told you there's a guy that's saying if he doesn't, he's going to expose his grinder.
Well, that grinder account is going to be exposed, but not by Grinder, but by people who.
But individual. But he also has all of his computer addresses and everything else through that. So.
And by people he hooked up with, and then they're gonna, and then it's gonna be like, it's a witch hunt. It's not true. I didn't do it. Okay, yeah, right.
Yeah, like all the other rumors coming out now, like Benny Johnson. They're saying his initials BJ mean more than what it does. And
I need to do correct one thing. Linda Grin and I were doing a show yesterday, and we both got mixed up. We meant to say Marco Rubio, but we said Ted Cruz. So apologies. It was Marco Rubio we were speaking of.
Well, he's rumored to be on the DL as well.
Oh well, then I don't take it. Then I don't take it back.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Bingo. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Sharon. He could not break us if we bond together.
Did anybody see Planet of the Apes when Caesar's saying we're stronger in numbers? You know, come on.
We are. And I'm going to leave it by saying what the people in Peru and Quechua, I forget the language, but they, you know, the natives, they call everybody, hello, my brothers and sisters. So I think when we start looking at people as our brothers and sisters, at least the majority of us do, then we can get rid of the racist, bigoted lowlifes who want to tell the biggest majority of us what we can and cannot do.
I like that. It's beautiful.
Anyway, this has been so much fun. Let's see, I'm leaving. When am I leaving? Tomorrow. Let me see if I'll be back.
Next week, we're not doing a show. It'll be the following week.
Yeah, because I'm leaving tomorrow. I'll be back on the night. Yeah, I won't be back. So anyway, then the following week, I'll be on Arthur's channel.
Yeah.
And then after
you better send pictures and videos so that we can post them.
I will send lots of them. Anyway. All right, everybody. Just hope for some clear weather so we'll get to see the Northern Lights. And
they're gonna be fine.
I gotta go pack.
All right.
All right. Sherry, you want to come front and center so we can say thank you, darling? I like that.
Hello.
I'm gonna call you that. Mademoiselle is here.
Mademoiselle.
Yeah, because we'll be on, the three of us, on my channel on the 13th, and then y'all will be back Aloha Tuesday on the 14th.
Yay.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, coolness.
So, what is a Cajun reading, Miss Sherry? I've asked you that before, but I'm curious.
Oh, I started that as a joke.
I'm Cajun and I'm reading.
I know, Arthur, you started it, but I just want to know what is it? What is it, Sherry?
I'm Cajun and I'm reading.
It's the way she likes her, frog legs, Cajun style.
Who was that? I don't like frog legs. Ugh. We did eat guinea pig in Peru. That was no, it did not taste like chicken. It did not taste like frog legs. It tastes like guinea pig. Who was that chef from that?
Justin Miller.
Yeah, he would say you put some onion.
Or not Miller.
What was his name? He was
Justin something crap. I can't remember now. My husband and I used to watch him and sit and laugh our butts off because he so does not sound like a real Cajun. I mean,
I know
his accent was like overly emphasized, and just yeah.
It's like some people from the South, when they are an actor, when they overdo the Southern accent. I mean, I can put it on real thick because my grandma kind of talked like this,
Was it Justin Wilson?
Yeah. I'm sorry?
Justin Wilson. That's it. Yeah,
Justin Wilson was. But you take some onion and you take some.
Now, onion, yeah. I know a lot of people say onion, but but they say all kinds of weird things down here that it takes. Even those of us who are from here have to think about it for a minute. Like, wait, what did they say?
Well, being from Kentucky, I was thinking the other day, a lot of times other than say something or something, got something. Got something's over.
Ain't that something?
Ain't that
something?
Right over.
Yep.
My grandma used to say, open a window, it's hot here. And it wasn't his or hers. Now don't take that, that's his'n or that's hern.
And in Philadelphia, they used to say jeet.
Say what?
Jeet.
Jeet?
Mm-hmm. Meaning, did you eat? Jeet.
Oh, jeet. Oh, jeet.
Jeet.
Yeah, something they say down here, instead of telling somebody to go put something up or go put it away, they'll tell you, go save it.
Go save it.
And when I first moved back to Lafayette, I'd never lived in this area before. And the first time at a job I had and somebody told me to go save something, I said, well, what are we saving it for? And
it's the word file.
We didn't do this round robin of who's on first and what's on second kind of deal where they kept telling me, and I was honestly confused. I was like, I don't understand why you want to save this stuff. It took somebody else to walk up and said, they mean put it away. And I went, well, why didn't you just say so?
Where I come from is this thing, carry this. Some of the people say, pack this for me. Not for a fur. Pack this for me. Well, where do you want me to pack it?
Exactly.
Hello. Anyway, on that happy note, you all, remember, when we meet
Go subscribe to my channel. I'm almost at 10,000.
Subscribe to Sherry's channel, thumbs up. Subscribe to Arthur's channel, thumbs up.
I hit 76.
How many?
76.
You all, thank you for subscribing to mine.
He's a lot further than I am.
And he's 100.
And
plus.
Mel just said 100,000. Yay!
Thank you to everybody. And I just want to thank our subscribers. And here again, when you meet new people and just that's a lesson I learned from Peru. Hello, brothers and sisters. In fact, our tour manager told us, and it was really cool. She said, to us, it doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter your religion. It doesn't matter where you're from. It's what's in your heart. And
thumbs up.
And that was profound for me. So
yeah, I gotta put this up for y'all to laugh at as we go out. Grace,
chicken fried steak.
Everybody down here says chicken fried steak. We know exactly what it is and what it means. And no, it's not a chicken fried steak.
And they say chicken fried chicken, but where I come from, we call it country fried steak.
Yeah, you get it both down here. So
it was in Texas when I heard chicken fried steak. I'm going like, chicken fried steak. Okay, I'll try that.
I don't know what it is, but I'll give it a shot.
I got a pack. So, Sherry, once again, how do they get a hold of you?
swampvoices@gmail.com or on my YouTube channel.
For a Cajun reading from Mademoiselle, do you use your Madame Laveau crystal ball?
It's not big enough, but I do have a small one.
All right. Sherry's got a small crystal ball. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I got a voodoo doll. So, you know,
sent me one.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
all do.
Got one. Arthur,
y'all all got one.
all serious friends got voodoo dolls. Okay, Arthur, how do they get a hold of you?
ArthurEaseYourMind.com or here on YouTube at Arthur Ease Your Mind.
Mel at meldor.com, the Aloha Shirt Sidekick. All right. Thank you, everybody. Stay well,
right.
my brothers and sisters. I'm going to start saying that. Thank you all. Love to everybody. Stay well. Aloha.
Bye.
Bye. Sherry, you want to do the out?